Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I wanted to share a haul of sorts with you. I was reached out through the scrapbook.com affiliate program. As you know, I use affiliate links. I'm a scrapbook.com affiliate, and they wanted to know if I wanted to work with the Ranger Letter It line and share some cool ideas with you guys, and I thought that it would be something that you would like to see. And so I said yes, and I'm going to be doing some videos to share with you all about how to use the line. And I wanted to first start by just sharing the products and kind of getting your feedback. If there's anything particularly you really want to see, like, you know, how do you use that, or you know, just any questions you have about the line, so that way when I'm doing the videos it can serve you guys the best, since, you know, that's kind of the point of sharing all these videos, is to help you all out. So I wanted to show you what kind of things are included with the line, and then I'm going to make some swatches of the different materials and show those at the end of the video. So to get started, there are some stamp sets. The Letter It line is designed to give you the look of hand lettering really easily with stamps, and the complementing products are really meant to get that elegant look that we sort of associate with hand lettering projects. So here's the Birthday Letter It stamp set. I like the mix of larger and smaller sentiments, the sort of blockier, more capitals and things like that, with the very scripty. I think that gives it a really cool look. There were some sets that I like. I know, oh my gosh, I'm going to use this one a ton, like this giant hello, I feel like, or even the smaller hi hello. I like to make a lot of general cards. I knew I would really use that set a lot. That's the greetings set. Here is the wedding set. Very weddingy in general, but I do like that there's a large congratulations you can use for other things. Then we have thank you, another one where I was like, that one will definitely be used a lot. I hope to make a set of thank you cards. I do need a few, and so that might be one way that I, you know, as I'm showing you the line, just kind of utilizing this set quite a bit. This is the celebration set. This is a more general version of, so like these could be used for birthday, congratulations, and so I would say if you were looking for a more versatile set, this one might be it, just because I could see getting birthday sentiments out of it, even though it's not explicitly a birthday set. And I think there's something to be said for not putting happy birthday on the outside of a card, a birthday card, because you're going to be putting that again on the inside, so trying to use a different sentiment can be fun. And then finally the baby set with that large welcome and baby, and you know, I think it could be used beyond just the initial birthday, or sorry, welcome baby. But I also think these sets in particular strike me as great sets for card makers / scrapbookers. So maybe not so much the thank you, but I mean, he does even have that large grateful, which is a perfect sentiment for a scrapbook page. So I thought that would be one way to think of it too, is that if you like to scrapbook and card make, that might be a more versatile set of stamps for you. There is some Letter It cardstock in ivory and gray. Just again, that really sort of classic look to go with the classic look of hand lettering. And it also comes in assorted tag sizes. Next up are the basic embossing tools. So this is an embossing ink pad similar to a Versamark, and just puts a sticky ink down, which will be useful for some of the embossing powders included in the set. I'm excited to try the quality of the Ranger ink. I'd like to kind of test out the quality of a couple of different products of the same type, so that will be interesting. And then these put out the same sort of ink. It's an embossing ink, but it's in pen form, so that if you're more inclined to hand letter you know, if you're not so much the one to want the stamp sets, if you want to do the hand lettering yourself, they have a brush tip and a bullet tip. But I hope to show you some ways that you can utilize it, even if you feel like you're not ready to hand letter per se, but some other ways to still add some doodles and stuff to get some cool effects. Next up, since I mentioned there was embossing ink, these are the embossing powders. I think that this is a really beautiful set of embossing powders. They are the same quality as Ranger embossing powders. If you've used them in the past, you know, they're sort of standard embossing powders, but they've repackaged it for the Letter-It line to really give you a nice mix of elegant and classic colors. So this one is this pack here is kind of like really particularly exciting to me. It is the Tinsels. It has gold tinsel, silver tinsel, copper tinsel, and bridal tinsel. So that if you really are looking for that high impact glitter look, but since it's embossing powder, it's going to be less flaky. And then here is the other sort of this one's more of a metallic. It's called metallics, I thought so. It's the rose gold, navy, marigold, and gunmetal. So if you're just looking more for the shine rather than the glitter, this would be the pack for you. But like I said, I'm going to come back with all of these sort of swatched out at the end of the video, or, you know, second thing in the video that I share. Next up are the Perfect Pearls, which again, I will try to swatch out just so you can see, but I will, you know, look forward to teaching you some techniques you can use with them. If you've worked with Perfect Pearls in the past, I imagine these are the same Perfect Pearls, but again, just repackaged for those classic lettering looks in terms of just being those like beautiful, simple colors. And this is a smaller package than I've seen in the past. So if you just wanted like 1 or 2 colors to use, something that suited you well, these might be better. They also have a stamp block as part of the line. I like the grids on it, helping you to stamp things placed perfectly. And I noticed in terms of being able to line it up straight, which is particularly important considering the focus on sentiments. If you're really going to make your sentiment the star of the show, it's got to be straight. And I'm the kind of person who loves having like 15 acrylic blocks personally, because I'm a little bit lazy. I don't always, you know, clean off my stamps in between as I'm getting in the groove, and then I end up at the end of my crafting session with like 10 acrylic blocks full of stamps off to the side. There are also some small, they're not in cubes just because they are a little bit longer, but the really high quality archival inks in these smaller forms, and available again in some very classic colors, navy, coffee, or so that's cobalt, coffee, shadow gray, black. Great, you know, basic colors to have. And then some fun colors as well. The plum, rose, olive, and French ultramarine. High quality Ranger ink that you've come to know and love from them, but in these smaller packs. And finally, the Letter-It metallic markers, again, so that you can create your own lettering look or add some doodles to what you're working on. These are all metallic markers. And I'm trying to get the cap off quickly for you. They have more of a bullet nib, but I'll explore those more in a future video and be back in a second with some swatches. So here I have the swatches for the different parts of the Letter-It line. These are first the Ranger Archival Inks, and you may recognize these ink swatch printouts. They're from Jennifer McGuire, and I will put a link in the video description if you want to print something similar. She didn't have shadow gray, so I just kind of made a similar one of my own for that. Obviously, you could just cut 2-inch squares on your own and label them for whatever you have, which I wound up doing for the other things because she has just the ink ones. But I really appreciate that free resource from her. I stamped the Yay sentiment from, I believe it's the Congratulations stamp set. And I just wanted to, normally I stamp a flower to get my ink swatches. So this is what my normal ink swatches look like. But in this case, I decided, since I was going to be doing a lot of lettering projects, like using the letter it line together, that it'd be nice to see what it looked like with a sentiment. That might be a little bit more accurate for me. So there are the shadow gray, jet black, coffee, and cobalt. That is one collection. The French ultramarine, olive, rose madder, and plum, which is the other collection of ink. Then I also swatched the embossing powders. And here are the Tinsel embossing powders. I'm going to try to kind of flash them in the light so you can see that they have that glitter look to them. They do shed a bit. So if you're working on a project where you really can't have any shedding of glitter, I would just keep that in mind and use it for a project where it would be okay. The Bridal Tinsel doesn't show up as well because it is basically a white embossing powder, so I'll definitely use that on some darker colors. I do like that it gives a nice raised look on it. There's quite a bit of embossing powder. I think that's in part because the embossing ink was really good quality. It's a brand new pad, so it's really juicy, which helps too to get a good amount of ink down. Same thing with the metallic embossing powders. It's a really nice raised effect. They're a little bit thicker pieces, but they still work well on these sentiment stamps. And so you have the gunmetal marigold navy and rose gold. I did find the rose gold kind of spread out a bit around it, so I would say to be more careful with that in terms of putting enough of the embossing powder bag down. I have a hard time remembering to use my embossing powder bag, and so I think that's what happened here, and I would just make sure to get rid of the static. I also live in a really dry climate, so static is much more of an issue. We have really low humidity, so you might not have that issue as much depending where you live. Then I wanted to show the 4 colors of Perfect Pearls. There is the classic Perfect Pearls color, the copper color, the gold, and then the sort of dark gray gunmetal type color. I forget the exact names of them right now, but you saw them earlier in the video, of course. And again, I used an embossing powder bag to remove some static, and there is definitely some left around. But what you have to consider is I live in a very dry climate, and if your climate isn't as dry, you probably won't experience these issues. And if you do live in a dry climate, to just, be very generous with your embossing powder bag. Maybe, I actually keep a humidifier in my craft room, especially in the winter time, just to combat dryness in general, but it also can help your supplies. So that might just be something to consider, a small room humidifier, which might make some projects easier to do. And yeah, so that was just a quick look at the Letter It line. I'm going to be back with some videos featuring different projects with the Letter It line, but feel free in the video description, or not video description, the comments below to let me know what you most want to see, what your questions about the products are. I did use hairspray as a fixative for this, and I'm going to continue to let it dry and then see how it sticks. I've heard other people say that the just using water has helped to set perfect pearls, but I found that didn't work for me. Maybe I didn't quite, do it right. Maybe I've heard people say you have to do it a couple times, etc., but there's no reason. I personally, I don't have anything against working with a small bottle of hairspray, and I just picked up a travel hairspray to make it work, since I, personally don't use hairspray. But you might even have that on hand, and or any fixatives, that art fixatives. So yeah, leave your questions, suggestions, etc. in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon with some more projects. Bye!